Anyway, we can probably move on for the award winners because we still want to talk about. We had some roster cuts going on, and there was a lot of fat that was trimmed from these rosters. So I think we're just going to start in division order for the most part. Depending on our time, we're also going to try to talk about the Royals offseason preview. So we're going to save them to last and then transition into it. But Cleveland won the division. This is the first round of roster cuts. Dan, do you have a first person you want to start off with, or should I just show a slide and you can just talk about whoever shows up?
I can probably talk about whoever shows up. My only concern is if I have somebody to talk about you didn't have, but
Yeah, well, then
we'll
I
we'll
can look
figure it
up
out.
baseball reference. So,
We'll
the
fire it
first
away.
one,
Go
we're going
ahead.
to roll the dice and we're going to talk about recent free agent Lane Thomas, who you've already kind of talked about.
Yeah, well, this will be pretty brief. Lane, this was a lost season for Lane Thomas in the sense that the Guardians traded for him at the deadline in 2024, was an impact player in a way for them in the playoffs, and we're really hoping he'd be a part of the secret sauce here in 2025 to keep the offense viable, particularly against left-handed pitching. This team has been devoid of outfielders that are offensively inclined for quite a while. He was hurt the whole year. He had plantar fasciitis the whole year, tried to play through it a couple times, and just didn't work out. And so he'll hit the free agent market. I'd be very curious to see what he's going to get on the free agent market, honestly, given how poor he played in the little bit of time he had. But at the same time, I think teams know he was injured. So there is some opportunity for maybe him to come back on some sort of prove it deal, but I don't think that's super likely at this point.
I do like him on a prove it deal a lot. Like I would target him if I was in the center field market. I think I would target Elaine Thomas, even just specifically for the defense. I know his outs above average wasn't great, but that's a flawed stat at best. But it seems like the two worlds are there. If he's, I feel like he could be a really good fourth outfielder for a good team.
I think he's a starting outfielder for a team if he's himself. My perception of him is always he's a major league quality outfielder. He is a better hitter against lefties, but I do think he could play every day
And when
if
you look
he's
at
right.
perceptions, I mean, from my point of view, Lane Thomas is a Cleveland Guardian type guy. I mean, that's just at the end of the day.
I think that's fair too. I wouldn't be disappointed if they brought him back. I don't know at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
I could see like I'm gonna talk out of both sides of my mouth here, but like I've seen Lane Thomas. If I'm Cleveland, I've seen him for the last 18 months. It hasn't gone well. Let me just go try to find another center
Yeah.
fielder. I don't.
To
I
be
don't.
fair, when he was first brought over, he didn't hit well when they first traded for him. And then he got hot in September and into the playoffs. So there's been the play on the field has been bad more than it's been good. But when it was good, it was at a very important time. So
I was gonna
I
say,
don't
yeah, you can make a lot of
know.
living. Who was it for the Giants? It cut like in 2014. Cody Ross
Yep.
made a whole living just being good in the playoffs. Next up on the Rolodex, the other free agent for Cleveland, Jacob Junis.
So Junis was brought in last year on, I think it was a $4 million deal, and honestly pitched pretty well for the team. Wasn't one of the back end, the bullpen types that they leaned on the most. But when Clase departed, they needed all hands on deck, and he was put in some situations maybe he wouldn't have been put in otherwise. And he pitched fairly well over the course of the season. So I do think they got good value on their 1 year deal, under 3 ERA. Again, not always in the most high leverage, but good performance. And going into next year, I kind of wonder if maybe he catches on somewhere else for more money just because it's been a couple good years out of the bullpen now, back to back.
Okay, those are the only two like impending free agents. Now we just have other subtractions, which again the Guardians don't have a lot of fat to cut, which makes sense. They're the division winner. Do any of these guys? Tyler Naquin, I think, is probably the biggest name on this list.
Yeah. As far as this list goes, Naquin's the only name that really sticks out at all. And that's a whole other thing where he had been several years ago, he had been an outfielder in the organization, played in the majors, played in the World Series, and was trying to make a comeback as a pitcher. And didn't hear much about him this year. So it wouldn't surprise me if we kind of keep that relationship going, but I don't know that he'll be ever impactful as a pitcher. But I think there's the opportunity there for it to pay off at some point. But it's one of those things where it's most likely it'll never come to fruition.
That's all I had for the Guardians. Is there anyone else you wanted to talk about that's leaving the organization?
Yeah, there is. There's a few. So I'll be my best to be brief here. But this week, some decisions had to be made on the 40 man, basically because the injured lists don't exist in the offseason. So you need to get those guys back onto your roster. Will Brennan, Sam Hentges, and Andrew Walters were activated for that reason and put on the 40 man roster. Brennan is an outfielder that hasn't really ever performed at the major league level. I was a little bit surprised to see him get activated. The way I've kind of voiced him before is he's the dollar value version of Stephen Kwan at this point. He does everything Stephen Kwan does, but not quite as good. Hentges, I've talked about when we did our roster preview a couple weeks ago, so I won't dwell on him. Big, tall lefty, hurt all season. Hopefully, see him at some point in 2026. Really good bullpen arm if healthy. And then Walters, I've talked about on the show before. Rookie this year, really live arm out of the bullpen. A former closer at the University of Miami. Hopefully, will be something down the line, but also hurt. In order to make space for these guys, some names were outrighted. Will Wilson, I'm not going to dwell on. He was a utility infielder this year, didn't play much, had a 44 OPS plus when he did. Dom Nunez was the third catcher on the team. Saw him when I think Hedges went on the IL for 2 weeks. That was the extent of him. He was just backup catcher, call a game. They'll find that somewhere else next year. Where it gets a little more interesting is Kobe Allard, who was a contributor in the bullpen this year, was due to make a projected 1.9 million in arbitration. He was outrighted. I believe the Guardians are betting that they'll find another Kobe Allard somewhere that can do what he did for less, even if it is only $1.9 million. And I do think he'll catch on with somebody else with a major league deal because he had such a good year. The other one that's interesting to me is Ben Lively. Lively was an awesome starting pitcher for this team in 2024. Got hurt in 2025, I think in probably late April, early May. And not only did he need Tommy John surgery, but he needed a second arm surgery, and he's not going to be seen in 2026 at all. I do think there's the opportunity there for a relationship to continue, but it might be on a minor league deal. It might be we pay you less to rehab next year type situation. But he had his best major league performances with Cleveland. Cleveland has been known to be willing to rehab guys. Obviously, they've done it several times now. I just think it's going to be at a discount if he's going to come back.
Does he have options left?
I believe he does, but I'd have to fact check myself on that. I believe he does. He was really interesting because he went to Korea, and before he went to Korea, he had never gotten through his 6 years of service time anyway. So they actually got him at, you know, the minimum when they first brought him in. Last guy, the Guardians declined the option on John Means. It was a $6 million option. They had signed him last offseason to a 1-and-1 deal where he made $1 million this year and made $6 million on the option. They declined the option. They rehabbed him this past year. The hope was he would kind of show up the way Matthew Boyd did last year, midway through the season, and help the team after having Tommy John surgery. The rehab results weren't good for John Means. His K per nine was 7. His walk per nine was 4. His homer per nine was 3 at AAA.
Ouch.
Yeah. I think this is just showing that the Guardians were not enthused with his progress as far as his rehab goes. And then also in this organization as presently constructed, Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee, Joey Cantillo, Parker Messick, Logan Allen, Slade Ciccone, Doug Nikhazy, Cal Steven, Austin Peterson. There are 9 options to starting pitchers. All those guys either pitched in the majors last year at some point, or are Cal Steven, who they got from the Shane Bieber trade, or are Austin Peterson, who's going to have to be on the 40-man in order to not go to the Rule 5 draft, and I think they feel good about. So Means was expendable at this point. They're 9 deep without him, and thanks for letting me kind of hit all those. But those were other things that kind of happened over the course of this week that I thought were worth mentioning real quick.
So a lot more than the the 6 names that I had on my list.
And all those were guys that were due to free agency coming
Yep.
into this week. Those were guys that were looking at ARB this year, or were punted off the 40 man.
For
Um,
anyone interested in the methodology, if you had an article on MLB trade rumors, you get a slide. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, my daughter is crying. One moment.
Baby doesn't like MLB trade rumors.
I was about to say she apparently does not like my methodology here.
Your
So
methodology is crap.
it's not wrong. If they got an article, I gave them a slide. If they were there was an MLB article that they just posted all the free agents, then you're just gonna get a baseball reference page. And then the other one was just like MLB trade rumors had an article that just said, here's everyone that's a minor league free agent. So if you're wondering like why does he get a slide and why does this person not, there you are, folks. That's as deep as I went with it. If you don't like it, start your own show. Next up. She doesn't like it. We're going to talk
Elizabeth's
about
gonna
the
start her own
Tigers.
She's gonna start her own show.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Tigers. Lee, talk about Jack Flaherty.
All right, yeah. So Jack Flaherty decided to opt in. So he's getting $20 million to stay on the Tigers. I like that. I think I said last week I would have been fine either way. But I wanted him to stay on the team. He had issues this year, but he's got a good working relationship with the Tigers pitching staff and all that sort of thing. So hopefully they can kind of work with him a little more and figure that out a little bit. But it's not a bad deal. It's we're probably going to still go out and sign some other starting pitcher, either a starting pitcher as well. This isn't going to be the only guy, hopefully, knock on wood. But so Flaherty staying on the team. I get to say I told you so, and yeah, pretty much.
Let's talk about that because I planted my flag pretty hard that I thought he was going to opt out. I'm still pretty surprised because I think anytime you can just get a total value more than the next year total, he would be opting
I'm
out
not
of.
particularly surprised.
But
yeah,
I don't know. I could also I don't hate it for him. Dan, go ahead.
I'm also surprised. This starting pitching market to me is very weird so far already. In that Flaherty opted in at $20 million. Shane Bieber opted in Toronto for $16 million. And I sense maybe there's a little bit of an unfinished business situation going on there with him. I get that. But Lee, how much did Alex Cobb make last year as damaged
15.
goods?
Yeah, 15.
Alex Cobb made $15 million last year. Didn't throw a pitch in the majors. Was never guaranteed he was going to. And now we've got guys signing for 16 and 20 million. Completely capable, good starting pitchers. It's just strange to me. I don't know if it's the impending lockout. It's odd to me that those guys opted in.
I mean, he had almost a 5 ERA. He wasn't particularly great this year. He had his moments, but like
Alex Cobb didn't throw a pitch. It was never a guarantee, and he got $15 million.
You're paying him $15 million because he has 15 years of experience, and when he does pitch, he's good. Like you're counting on. It's just that if he's healthy thing, you can't not pay a guy because he's probably going to be injured at some point. It's not how it's not going to work out in contracts.
Lee, I can agree with your methodology. Granted, my daughter might cry just mentioning that word, but Alex Cobb, I don't. Even was anyone excited when they gave Alex Cobb $15 million? Was there anyone in Detroit that thought, "Hey, this is a value contract"?
It was there's no such thing as a bad 1-year deal. It was more of a why are we getting a guy who's old and injured? Because we're kind of tired of that.
And that's fair. Next up, we've talked about him for a bit, but I was surprised, Lee. You were right. I was wrong. It hurts my pride a little bit, but now this is probably the biggest group of actual impact or players who are probably going to find major league free agents, except for one comic name we're all going to laugh at when we see. Lee, talk about this set of 5 names.
Yeah. Oh yeah. High impact with a combined 0.5 WAR. Yeah. But Tommy Kahnle, he's probably going to go somewhere and get some money. He was great for the first 3 months, sucked for the rest of it. He's 35. He's got one bit. It's not gonna, he's probably gonna get money from someone, but wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get a whole lot of money. I don't particularly want to re-sign him. We've talked about Kyle Finnegan. He's gonna go and he's gonna get some money because he was great for the Tigers. I think it's just it's kind of a matter of when he came back from that injury, he wasn't as good, but he was coming back from an injury. I would love to re-sign Finnegan because he was awesome. Chris Paddock, he's gonna go and get some minor league deal somewhere. Probably he's not gonna get a whole lot of money. Rafael Montero, he could be interesting because he was fairly decent for us when he came back, but he hasn't been good for a little while now, so he's probably not going to get a whole lot of money. I would be fine re-signing him on some cheap deal because it did look like he was like working on stuff, but I'm not particularly feeling strongly on that. This isn't exactly a great roster of pitchers here, except for Finnegan because he was good. I wish Canley had been good for the whole season because he was fantastic. And then the calendar turned to July, and he's like, "Yeah, I decided to suck now." Good times. Yeah,
That's a direct quote.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
He had to do a lot of shaving. Yeah, that's all I have to say about those guys, really. Not a whole lot. Unless, Eric, you got anything about Chris Paddock, but I think Eric is talking to Baby.
Yes. The Baby is saying, why didn't Kyle Finnegan pitch better throughout the whole season?
And in the postseason. Yeah, I think it was just because he got injured, and then that affected him after that.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to take her downstairs, so she was hungry. So sorry about that, everyone. I'm assuming we're done with that slide.
Yes.
Okay. Next up.
Yeah. So Tigers did the mutual option or the qualifying offer for Torres. It's like $22.5 million. I don't think Torres will pick it up because I think he's gonna want that long-term deal.
Yep.
But I'd be fine with the Tigers re-signing him, but I don't want to offer him the deal that he's going to want, if that makes sense.
I mean, not for nothing, this is a nice little piece of business for the Tigers to get a buy low candidate in Torres and then give him a qualifying offer and get a draft pick after 1 year of service. Like, it's hard to do better than that.
He was a great hitter. He kind of fell off in the last 2 months, but apparently he had a hernia. So, I'm not going to... Yeah, I mean, I'd like to have him again if he decided to pick up that qualifying offer, but I don't think he will. He's probably going to go and get paid by someone else, and good for him.
Does anyone have any guesses what he's going to make? Is he going to clear $100 million? He's 28 years old. It's one of the younger free agents you're going to have.
Not with the lockout.
Well, there's that. I don't think you're wrong there, but...
That's a cloud that looms over everything.
I will say, they've said this every, impending CBA, every time the CBA is near, people do say that. But I also don't think it's a coincidence, and I'm taking this from Gleeman and the Geek. I don't think it's a coincidence that Jack Flaherty opts in, Shane Bieber opts in, and then, for $16 million for Shane Bieber, that's a pretty good deal. Now, either the Blue Jays are going to extend him, or there's a little bit of a let's wait to see what this is an actual threat. So I don't think you're wrong, Ty, but typically it's just been business as usual when these CBAs expire, but maybe this is a real threat now.
That speaks to me like maybe we see a bunch of 1 year deals in anticipation of the players think they're going to get more money after this CBA comes,
Yeah.
Which, by the way, should help out the Central more than the Coast teams.
Yeah.
Because if it's just 1 year, you'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's true. To answer the question, this is a pure guess. 5 years, $125 million for Glaber is my pure guess. I did look up what Marcus Semien made a couple years ago and kind of used that as a reference, but
I don't think that's terrible because I think he can get similar to the Javi Baez contract, which was 5 years, 125.
6 years.
6 years, 125. I think that's in the ballpark. Next up.
All right, Paul.
Your
So I don't
favorite.
have a lot to say about him. He pitched 4 whole innings for the Tigers. Whatever. You go in, get your minor league deal somewhere else, I guess. Dan, do you have anything to say? He pitched more for the Guardians than he did for the Tigers.
Seawald was the second year in a row the Guardians made an experiment where they brought in a veteran relief pitcher and paid him some money, and both times it hasn't worked out. Scott Barlow was okay in 2024, but didn't make it through the season. Was replaced by younger arms, and Seawald just was injured a lot, and wasn't particularly effective when he was on the roster. He made $7 million to be a negative WAR player for the Guardians and Tigers combined. So I hope they kind of learn from that and either pick better or stop going to that well. But yeah, that's what I have on Seawald.
All right. And this was a
Yes.
minor league option. Lee, I think you said he might have got picked up on a minor league deal, or am I thinking of someone else? Jose Urquidy.
Yeah, it's him. He might. Yeah. So Tigers officially didn't pick up his $3 million option for next year. I was okay. So because we signed him for, I think it was like 2 years, $6 million. Last offseason, right? And he was coming off of his second Tommy John. It was basically we'll have him at the end of this year and for 2026 as well, which is why I was a little bit surprised that we didn't pick up that $3 million option. I do wonder if they just didn't really like what they saw in him in his rehab. And then when he came up, he only pitched in 2 games and he was not good, but like it was 2 innings. So, what the hell? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back on like a minor league option thing because he has a good working relationship with Hinch. He's spoke very well about the Tigers organization in terms of like rehabbing him and all that kind of thing. So this is one I was a little bit surprised on, but not too surprised, and wouldn't be shocked if we got him on a minor league deal or something like that. Because he's 30, coming off of his second Tommy John. So. No, the only one I know, I don't know most of these names because they're minor leaguers. Randy Dobnak, Brian Servin, which I've heard of, but I don't really know much about.
I will say so. I actually know more of these names maybe than you do this because they're all ex-Twins. Jordan Balazovic was a former top 100 prospect a couple years ago because completely flamed out. He was supposed to be he had a ceiling of a 3 or 4 starter in the majors, probably profiled as a decent reliever. It just never happened. Randy Dobnak was probably the first red flag in the Twins fire sale. He was part of the Chris Paddock deal. He was thrown in as salary relief for the Twins, and you might ask, salary relief? He's a minor league pitcher. He was on a guaranteed deal. The Twins signed him to a very small extension a couple years ago. It was like literally $12 million in total value. He made $3 million this year, but he had a $1 million buyout. And the Twins were like, hey, Detroit, here's Chris Paddock. Do you mind taking on Randy Dobnak and paying him $1 million to go away? And Detroit was like, I guess, are you that poor? And the Twins said, yes, we are. Randy Dobnak seemed like a good dude. If anyone remembers, he was a playoff starting pitcher in 2019, and he was an Uber driver like 6 months before that. It was that guy with the Fu Manchu. Great story. I have his sweatshirt jersey, but because all of my sweatshirt jersey buys are cursed, Randy Dobnak was just let go. And then Jose De Leon was a former top 100 prospect from like a decade ago. Showed some promise with the Twins when they had him for a year. I still think he can be a major league quality reliever. I think he'll sign on somewhere with a minor league deal. I would be interested in the Twins signing him as an arm because they don't have a bullpen anymore. But, yeah.
Kevin Newman was worth 3 WAR for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2019 and was never that good ever again.
Yeah.
I had him on my teams in MLB this show. Just saying, I got a soft spot for him.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's all those death pieces.
Yeah. In terms of players that we did pick up, there we go. we got Tigers activated these guys off of the 60-day injured list. Bo Brisky, Jason Foley, Sean Gunther, Jackson Jobe, Ty Madden, Reese Olson. None of those are particularly surprising. Putting on the 40-man roster. We also picked up Jack Little off of waivers from the Pirates for some reason. Whatever.
Why not?
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like we talked about before, Foley and Brisky might end up being waived and then signed back on, but they're on the 40-man roster for now. We also re-signed Tomas Nido to another minor league deal, which I like because he came up when Jake Rogers was injured. He was here for like 3 weeks, was awesome. Pitched once, we were getting blown out. He was good. He's a good third catcher to have. So yeah, glad to have him back in the system. Pretty much it. Nothing too wild out there for us.
Moving on to the Twins. This will be quick because we've already talked to them at death. Their only remaining impending free agent is Christian Vasquez. He was the sole survivor after the fire sale because they traded all of their impending free agents, including a Gold Glove winner in Ty France. He signed a 3-year deal a couple years ago. It has not worked out. I'd love to tell you, I'm showing his Baseball Savant page right now. I'd love to tell you that this last year was the end of a 35-year-old catcher. This is about what his production has been in Minnesota. This is a good visual. Pretty decent defensive catcher. No offense that has only gotten worse every year of that contract. I think I'm the only one that speculated this, but when the Twins were still looking for a manager, I was like, I wonder if they bring back Christian Vasquez as a player manager. He seems like he's at that end of his career. I would not be surprised to see him be a manager in the majors. And then, he will be the Steven Vogt 5 years from now. I feel like I'm pretty confident saying he will manage it. If the Twins wanted to go outside the box, they could have done Vasquez. They chose not to. It's fine. If you're looking for just a leader, like an Austin Hedges type, may I present you Christian Vasquez? And that we're going to subtractions. The only notable name is Jose Miranda. He was a former top 100 prospect who, even up to last year, does anyone remember this headline? Jose Miranda tied the major league record for consecutive hits in at bats. That was July 2024. He had 13 straight hits, and he is now released from the organization 13 months later. That is a fall. I'm not going to tell you that I was never high on Jose Miranda, but this is about as bad of a decline as you can have because he did have a pretty promising start to his career. There's times he was like a 120, 125 OPS guy. And now the Twins are releasing him because when he was demoted in April, he was literally the worst offensive player in AAA. That is a player either injured, checked out, or just it fell off a cliff faster than anyone that you can imagine at 26 years old. I'm going to guess, I think, Dan, you made this joke a couple months ago. He's going to be signing with Korea in the next 2 weeks. And I get as much money as you can, Jose, because I don't know if it's going to happen to you here. The other names are just fillers. Jonah Bride was a waiver claim. Mischevich was a minor league signing. He played for he pitched a couple innings for the Twins for that bullpen because, if you had a pulse for the Twins and could pitch in the bullpen, you got a chance. So next up, Ty, we have the White Sox.
Yeah.
Mutual option.
Yes. Perez got the mutual option declined. So he's receiving that $1.5 million buyout. Honestly, from everything I've heard, it sounds like he's going to come back on a team friendly deal. Given, I mean, he's 34 going into age 35 season. He turned 35 in April. When he was pitching, when he wasn't injured, he was pitching decently. So other than that, not whole lot to say here. Just I'm actually hoping that he comes back because we do want that that veteran leadership on the roster.
I don't like. He's a good like fifth starter. Like it just back of the bullpen, he's fine. He sometimes overperforms. His baseball savant page doesn't pitch him as that, but he had a pretty decent year for a 1-year deal in Chicago.
Yep.
The opt-in. This is not surprising, but it should be.
Well, so, our GM has been talking about this all season. As soon as that trade deadline passed, we have a feeling that Robert's going to be back. From my perspective, is it the worst $20 million we've ever spent? No. Obviously, I think there's still a hope internally that he's going to catch fire and be able to trade him at the deadline. But honestly, I mean, when you look at, if you want to keep the team competitive, having his glove in center field and the potential of his bat lighting up in the lineup, it is what it is. Our payroll is going to be bottom 10, whatever it is, 90 million or less next year. So I'm glad to have him back to see if he can pull it off one more time. But I would be very surprised if he was on the team at the end of the year.
I'll say, just looking at his savant page, it's a lot of like meh, but the tools are there. The speed is still there. The defense is still there. The bat speed is still there. You can see him doing it, but
he picked it up towards the later half of the year, right?
And he did, correct. Until he got hurt for wait, hold on, I actually got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trips to the IL this year. For different reasons, keep that in mind, but it's just, we'll see what he can do. That's all I can say. I hope he has a good offseason. I hope he stays healthy. That's all we've ever wanted.
If you were Chris Getz, they fired Chris Getz, Ty is now the GM. Would you have traded him or would you have done this?
Given all the young kids we have, I'm taking whatever we can get at the end of the It doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, he seems to be enjoying himself. There might be benefit to having him with the kids. I don't know if they really respect him and what he can do on the field. And once again, I don't think anyone can disagree that when he is on, he's on. He's an MLB caliber ceiling player.
Yes.
It's just the fact that he only reached that once or twice. So
I remember getting annoyed when people would call him the next Byron Buxton. I was actively annoyed when that happened, but I don't think it really wasn't a bad comparison if you look at the tools. A lot of power, a lot of speed, a lot of swing and miss. It's just
a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would still say Byron wins on consistency, and that's what we haven't seen from Luis over the last couple of years. Is that you when you're out there, when you're playing well, you're good. Can you stay out there and continue to play well?
This is very. Can you click on that single that's right next to that home run dot on the hit spray chart? I want to see this 370-foot single.
We'll get back to that because this is a screenshot.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, I will do that. We're going to move on to the next player though, and then I will find it as Ty is talking.
I'm stupid. Sorry.
So notable free agents. When you say notable, I would say Michael A. Taylor is the most notable free agent on this list. Everything I heard was that he was a great guy to have in the clubhouse. Will Venable as a rookie manager. It was great to have Michael A. Taylor, a guy like him, in the clubhouse. It sounds like he'll be back in baseball as a coach or something after he spends time with family. But once again, just having someone consistent, fourth outfielder to throw out there. It was really nice to have him around the kids. Tyler Alexander coming over from Milwaukee. Milwaukee released him in June, and then we picked him up. Notably, he was better with the White Sox, going from a 6.1 ERA with Milwaukee to 4.2 ERA with us. So it's nice to see him there. I'm not sure if we'll see him back. I wouldn't be surprised.
He's a very up and down pitcher. He was a Tiger. He can be very good, but then he'll just suck for like a 2-month stretch.
So hopefully we can catch fire with that there. I mean, we do have a new pitching coach, so we'll see how that turns out. And yeah, I mean the rest of the free agents that we have, very, very, very minor pieces. A few that I'm glad to see off of the roster, but we'll see what happens.
You're muted.
You're on mute. Yeah.
First time. All right. So Lee, I found your clip. It was actually in Minnesota. Oh, sorry. I pulled up 2 clips because there was a double that was very close too. So this was Luis Robert singles on a sharp line drive to left fielder Brandon Marsh. We're gonna hit the mute, and it hit off the wow, that was
It hit
Okay.
off the top of the wall.
I'm guessing he wasn't busting it out of the box.
I was about to say, I had a feeling.
I have a feeling he thought that was a home run, and he was
Also, look at the
jogging out of
location.
box.
Damn, yeah.
You're asking for trouble. I'm actually all right.
But every time Luis has gotten injured, it's been almost every time it's on his way to first base. So you're never going to see him bust out of the box the way he used to.
Yeah, I mean,
And that was just hit so hard, it might not have mattered.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
mean,
That was
if he hit
smoked.
it a little bit not as hard, that could have been a double just because it wouldn't have gotten there so fast.
It was 111 off the bat.
111. Good grief.
But look,
It's a home run in 1 out of 30 parks too. What's the one park?
Not Chicago.
Daikin Park.
Oh,
Houston.
I mean, if it would have been
It would
Chicago.
have cleared the
that would've been
Crawford
pretty
boxes. That's kind of surprising. There was one more I wanted to look at too. So sorry, we're gonna do this. Not that this.
funny. So I was just curious to see that 360-foot thing.
This was in Minnesota. I do vaguely remember this. Apparently, don't. Hey kids, here's some tips for you. Don't throw the pitch right down the middle of the plate.
Gate with 25
So you have
strikeouts.
Robert Bailey over. I mean, this was dead center. That probably should have been a home run.
It looks like it hit the top and then bounced up, and then
Well, it looks like it hit the gate. That's weird.
kind of does look like it hit the gate.
This should have been a home run, no? I mean, you can track the ball pretty. I mean, there's the ball here. I'm pretty sure it hit here. I don't know. I mean, maybe it has to clear the fence in Minnesota, but I'm pretty sure these flowers are a home run. So maybe the White Sox
Dude,
lost
it
their
was
challenge.
there. Maybe
I don't
they
know.
just didn't give a shit because it's.
I'm not going to argue it at this point. It wasn't worth it.
Like, you don't care about an early April home run robbery from Luis Robert in
It was
April?
September because it looks like it's cold and there's no one there. So
Well, that's April. Have you been in Minnesota? That's always. All right. Any
Yeah,
other
then, like
names
I
on
said,
here?
on the subtractions list, once again, I mean, it was. We saw a few of these people come up over the course of the season. Capra is one of the ones I remember. It sucks that the guys that we try to just throw out there and see what happens, it doesn't typically work out. But I'm sure they'll all go somewhere else for a minor league deal. So,
Any other names I missed or anyone you think we should highlight?
I just want to mention, as everyone else was calling out, just transaction-wise, Kai Bush did come back onto our 40-man roster. He's a left pitcher that we're expecting great things from. Same thing with Drew Thorpe, and then Prelander Barola is also on the roster. So,
All right. Next up, we got the Royals. So the original plan was we were going to do the Royals offseason preview, and this was going to be the transition. But we're at an hour and a half. We have a whole offseason to cover here. So I think next week the plan is, barring other Central players being getting lifetime bans for gambling, we're gonna probably kick this out, the White Sox and the Royals, next week as their offseason preview. Even though I guess the offseason is technically going, but you get what I mean. So Sam, let's talk about the Royals for a bit. First up, not an addition. I mean, it's not. It's an addition, but it's the least surprising addition I think you could possibly have.
Yeah.
They extended Salvador Perez.
Yeah. So Salvi was owed $13 million next year as a part of a team option. I don't really think it was a question as to whether or not Perez was going to be back next year. Quatrero and Piccolo had both stated in the end of season press conference that they did expect Perez to be back with the Royals next season. It was really just a question of how that was going to happen and what that was going to look like as far as the contract situation. So they gave Perez a 2-year extension for this season and next season. It's got $25 million worth of guarantees. So, and it looks like there's some deferred money in this contract, for after his time as a player. So he's taken a little bit of a pay cut these next couple years in exchange for some deferred money. We'll see how many years Salvi has left in him. I do think he's probably got another 2 seasons left in him, based on what he did last year at the very least. So it's good to see him back with the team. I'm imagining there's probably also some incentives in this contract for games played and certain metrics such as that. So he will be back. Camera, Iris is out. Salvador Perez will return. Title card to end the movie right there.
Did you even need breaking news music for that? Like,
yeah, no, I don't. I don't think so. And he put together a decent season last year, not as good as his 2024, but he cleared 30 home runs. He cleared 100 RBI, and he had a 729 OPS and a 100 OPS plus. So league
he's
average.
Still a very good defensive catcher too.
I think he's still a very good defensive catcher. However, I do think that if he wants to extend his career, he's going to have to defer to Carter Jensen next year a little bit more. I think we're probably going to see a pretty even split between those two guys for next season. 81 games for Salvi behind the plate and 81 games for Jensen behind the plate, if not even more, leaning toward Jensen for that. He's been a little bit more willing to be a DH and a first baseman over the last couple of years. So I think we're going to see a lot less of Salvi behind the plate.
Yeah. I mean, after 35 years old as a catcher, there's a lot of wear on those tires. He had nearly 600 at-bats. And that's not like, obviously, plate appearances. It's probably looking at 650 plate appearances this year. That's a lot for a 35-year-old part-time catcher.
Yeah, he's been durable. That's for sure.
I think you can make the argument that there's never, because of all the information that we have now in 2025, it's never been harder to be a catcher than it is now. Just they have so much responsibility. What better guy for Jensen to potentially learn from though than Perez?
Yeah, and I do think like Jensen came up last year in September, and I think had almost an entire win above replacement just in that month of September. So the Royals catching situation, I think, is pretty solid.
If only the Royals had, like 3 years ago, a very promising young catcher who could have learned from Salvador Perez, who definitely didn't flame out and is going to get cut this year in MJ Melendez.
Well,
if only.
Well, as I've said previously, MJ was one of the worst defensive catchers I think I've ever seen, and that's why they moved him to the outfield. And somehow when MJ was in the minors, he won Defensive Player of the Year for the organization. So clearly someone in our organization was lying to themselves about MJ Melendez's ability. But that's a tease for next week with the Royals off-season preview that we're going to do. So Perez coming back, feel great about that. Wasn't really in question, but he'll be here for another 2 seasons. Free agents for the Royals, again, not a ton of surprises here. Randall Grichuk was a trade deadline acquisition. He had a mutual option for this season. He wasn't very good. He turned down that mutual option. He's going to be a free agent. Michael Lorenzen also, he had a mutual option for this season. He was due, I think, like $12 million for next season. Royals have a lot of pitching depth. $12 million, that's a lot of money for a 5th starter. So no surprises there seeing him walk. Mike Yastrzemski, another guy who got picked up at the trade deadline. It'd be nice if we had some more time with him, but he was very good for the Royals during his time. But he's 35 years old, and he is also going to test free agency. He was due to be a free agent anyway. Adam Frazier, same situation, free agency acquisition, very good with the Royals, but ultimately he's going to test free agency as well. Luke Maley, he was the backup catcher for the Royals this year. Outside of Freddie Fermin, he was fine in 25 games. We don't need him, as I said previously, with Carter Jensen and Salvi. And then finally, Hunter Harvey was a trade deadline acquisition in 2024. He was good in 12 games, but only pitched 12 games for the Royals and has been injured for almost the entire time that he's been a Royal. He went to free agency as well. Again, injury is going to be the thing that really did his Royals career in. So we'll see what happens with him. But he was decent when he was healthy. So those are the guys who are going to be on the open market for the Royals this season. Not a lot of other guys who have been waived or cut. I would say the only notable one for me would be Kyle Wright, who I've mentioned a couple times with the Royals. He had been rehabbing. He wasn't totally. He won 20 games with the Braves back in 2022. Not a lot to say about him. He never really made it. I was hoping he would. But that's those are the ones that stick out to me. So
Then a long list. I mean, the study of Bobby Dalbec should probably be, or the looking at Bobby Dalbec should be studied because he was another former top 100 prospect that
yeah,
cut by Boston. I don't think he hit them. Did he get to the majors with Kansas City?
I'm not 100% sure. If he did, it may have been like a cup of coffee. I think he was. No, he did not. He did not get to the majors with the Royals. This list that we have here, not a lot to talk about. Couple guys that I've honestly never heard of before.
It's a lot of fun.
Sam
A lot of
Long.
names on there.
A lot of names on here. Sam Long, he was a relief pitcher for the Royals. He was really bad this year. He was okay in 2024, terrible in 2025. Not surprised to see him go. And then Nick Prado was at one point a top prospect for the Royals. Never really panned out. So not surprising to see that guy gone. Outside of that, not much to say on these subtractions.
I think that's actually the last one. So I think that was. Does anyone have, of all the names that we listed, and there was probably like, I don't know, 30 possible players, is there anyone that was dropped that you might think, hey, I wouldn't mind them on our roster? I did think, just going back in, I'm going off of the name, but Spencer Turnbull, I might be interested in giving a minor league deal. Prado, I'd be interested in giving a minor league deal. Jordan Balazovic, I think I'm done with. But does anyone want to take a flyer on Jose Miranda? Anyone? 26 years old?
Are we only referring to the list of the other subtractions?
Any.
Because I think Mike Yastrzemski might look really interesting as a Cleveland Guardian next year.
Strumke would be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, I think like he was due to be a free agent. I think that
honestly, he'd look good as a Royal, in my opinion. Sorry to talk over you.
Yeah, I kind of have an awkward opinion on him where I kind of wish he had another, like when we traded for him, I kind of wish we had another year of control. But also, I'm not 100% sold on bringing him back with a new contract. So he's going to be 35 this upcoming season. So I I have mixed feelings about a reunion with him.
It's a matter of his market, right? If he's going to get multi-years, I'd be less inclined to be interested too. But at 35, if he's getting a 1 or 2 year deal, I think it's interesting for either of our teams, really.
Yeah, I would
This
agree with that.
offseason, this offseason in general is going to be very interesting just because I wonder how much the dynamic between player and teams changes because if everyone thinks we're going to get a salary cap next year, our team's not going to want to give these longer deals. Our players going to be holding out for these. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't.
It's not only that there's going to be a cap, but the perception, the thing that I'm thinking because of what we saw with Bieber and Flaherty, is that the players realize there's going to be a cap, but they still might think that like Eric's talking about this. We don't know exactly how much of the revenue the players are making right now, but let's say it's 40%, because I think that's a decent educated guess. Players might be thinking, oh, we're going to have a cap, but it's going to be a 50% of the league revenue cap. And so, yeah, we're going to have a cap, but actually our piece of the pie is going to go up. So we're all going to take 1 year deal. I'm sure not everybody will take 1 year deals, but they're going to be more inclined to take a 1 year deal to try to make more money when there's more money next year.
I think, and it's all pure speculation, but I do think if there is a cap, obviously like the Otanis and the Sotos and the Scoobles, they're going to get hurt the most by the cap. But the Biebers, those mid-tier free agents, I think that's where that money's going to get distributed to, because it seems like that market has just collapsed in the last couple of years. Guys who you think are going to get $12 to $15 million have to sign a $6 million contract. Michael A. Taylor, to me, is a good example from a couple years ago. He signed with the Pirates for, I think, like $4.5 million when literally 2 weeks before the Twins traded for Manuel Margot, but they had an offer on the table for Michael A. Taylor for that $8 million. He lost $4 million and he was like a finalist for a Gold Glove. Like he should have gotten at least $10 million, you would think traditionally. And it just seems like that mid-tier market has just wiped out, but Juan Soto can get $800 million. We'll see.
I entirely agree.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the next couple of years. And also, there might be players who are like would normally get a 1 year deal, but they're like, I really want to get 2, so I don't have to deal with going on the free agent market next year during the lockout.
That's the attitude I would have. I would want nothing to do with that first year of free agency, I think.
Yeah, or like if it locks out, players might not be able to sign with teams until June or whatever.
I think we're going to see very
Sam, you broke up there pretty good. I think you're actually still frozen, so we're going to get back to you in a second unless this takes longer than 3 seconds. So,
am I still?
Nope, you're good now.
You're good now. Just very staticky.
I think we're going to see 2+ deals is going to be the very few 1 year deals this offseason.
Yeah, we'll see.
Interesting.
We'll find out together. So I think with that, we will be back with you guys next week is the plan. I think we're going to plan on weekly episodes for the foreseeable future, but that kind of depends on what free agency does and what news happens. So we'll keep you guys updated. Thank you for listening. See you guys next week.